Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jill, behind the camera is Roger, and we are Which Way Now? So today we're at Abbey Wood Campsite, which is in southeast London. I know, London, who'd have thought it, campsites, eh? And we're here because tonight we're going to go and see ABBA Voyage, which will be fantastic, we hope. And sorry, I was just seeing a wasp landing on Roger's hand. And yeah, we're going to just basically wander around tomorrow and see what we can find. This campsite looks lovely. It's in a beautiful little quiet spot, actually. Well, it seems quite quiet at the moment. It's very green as well. And she told us when we came in to beware of the foxes. Don't leave your shoes on the step because the foxes will come and take them. So that's quite interesting. It's got about 111 pitches, plenty of loos and showers, although the showers do look quite small. But yeah, it looks a very well tended, well kept campsite. So this morning we just had a little wander around the site and we found some more loos that have much bigger showers, so we'll be having a shower in there later on, I think. But last night we went to see ABBA and it was fantastic. If you are in this part of London, then do come and see it. It's a real experience. We didn't know what to expect, but it was amazing. I'm not going to say any more than that because I don't want to spoil it, and they do ask you not to spoil it for future people who come and see. But if you're in this area, do come and see London. Do come and see ABBA Voyage in London. Highly recommended. So here we are in the middle of London. We are now at St Paul's Cathedral. It took us about 25 minutes to get here via the Elizabeth line and the Central line. And this is the iconic St Paul's Cathedral. It cost £23 on the day to go in. But you can see from here there's a beautiful dome behind me with the iconic Whispering Gallery inside it as well, which basically if you whisper on one side inside that dome, you can hear it on the other side without having to raise your voice at all. It used to be free to go in when I was a little girl, but obviously now they have to keep the funds up so that they can keep the building open, which is fair enough, really. But yeah, this is St Paul's Cathedral. We're right in the middle of the city at the moment. This is the Millennium Bridge. This was opened in the year 2000, and on the same day it opened, it then closed because it was wobbling around. And then it reopened for a couple of weeks and then closed for 2 years while people tried to work out why it was swaying. And it turned out that what happened was when the bridge swayed from side to side, everybody's footsteps went in time with the swaying, which made it a million times worse. And it's closed at the moment just for some refurbishment works, but only for 3 weeks, fortunately. But we're quite disappointed because we were looking forward to going over the Millennium Bridge. We are now in the garden at 120 Fenchurch Street, which is about 15 floors up. It's definitely not one of the tallest buildings around, but the view from here is amazing. And over my shoulder you can see Tower Bridge, and over that way there's the Shard and there's the Walkie Talkie, both of which are very iconic buildings in London. Not the tallest now though, because there's still buildings going up all around us as we speak. But it's absolutely beautiful up here. Lovely, very pretty little garden. There's roses and alliums and all kinds of things blooming up here as well. It's lovely.
And it's free.
And it's free, indeed, it is free. This building behind me is the Gherkin, and I remember when this building went up and everybody was talking about how tall it was and it was going to be nearly as tall as Canary Wharf, and now it just looks fairly insignificant compared to all the other buildings around it. This is turning into a bit of a free day out in London, and we're now at 8 Bishopsgate, and this is on the 50th floor. Now, when we were on the garden just now in 120 Fenchurch Street, that was the 15th floor. This is the 50th floor, and the view up here is quite incredible. And again, you can see Tower Bridge down there and the Tower of London, and you can see the river behind me as well. And the view all round is absolutely amazing. This is the monument to the Great Fire of London. The Great Fire happened in 1666 and this was completed in 1677, and it stands exactly 61 metres tall, which is the distance from the site of the monument to the site where the fire actually began. This is Tower Bridge, built in between 1886 and 1894 and opened in 1894. It's quite an iconic landmark of London. It opens the river crossing, or the river traffic means it needs to actually open. The bridge opens like this, it opens about 1,000 times a year. It's very busy with traffic, both pedestrian and cars. And yeah, it's quite an iconic landmark of London, I would say. Oh, and the urban myth was, sorry, I nearly forgot that bit, that, we don't know if it's true or not, but allegedly an American bought what he thought was Tower Bridge, but was actually London Bridge, which is half a mile further downstream. He thought he was buying this and he wasn't, he was actually buying something further downstream, but whether that's true or not, who knows. This is HMS Belfast, and that was commissioned, it came into service in 1938, just before the beginning of the Second World War. So an awful lot of active service throughout the war, in the Arctic, in the North Cape, in Normandy, and it also went to Korea as well. And it was one of the first planes that actually had aircraft on it. So it had two little float planes which were on the back and were winched over the side, and then went off on the sea to land and to take off, which was quite impressive. And it's been here since about 1968, when it was, well, it hasn't been here, but it was decommissioned in about 1968. And it's been here for quite a few years. It's very interesting to go on board as well, I believe. We're here on the south bank of the Thames, and this is the Globe Theatre. Originally built in the 1540s, something like that, and it was then rebuilt and completed in 1997. So it used the same materials, the same kind of things that Shakespeare would have used, and it's an open-air theatre, and most of the people have to stand up. So if you're sitting down, you're one of the posh people around the edges, and if you're a normal person, you have to stand up in the middle in the melee with everything else and everybody else, and the actors often have to cope with people heckling them and that kind of thing. So yeah, it looks really interesting in there. So this is the other side of the Millennium Bridge, the wobbly bridge that we saw from the other side earlier on. And this comes across the river and ends up outside the Tate Modern. And Roger and I went in the Tate Modern a few years ago, and we didn't quite disgrace ourselves. We actually went in with my parents, and on the way in there was a thing that said about donations, and we thought, oh, we'll put something in on the way out. But we got the giggles because some of it was not necessarily to my taste, shall we say, and we didn't actually make a donation on the way back either because we weren't sure that it was our cup of tea. So this is the London Eye. It used to be called the Millennium Wheel, and it was put up in time for the millennium, unsurprisingly, and was originally sponsored by British Airways. I think now it's sponsored by lastminute.com or someone. But if you're here, definitely worth doing that. It's a really, really good experience, and the views from the top are lovely. Very gentle ride round. And the building that you can see behind me is the old County Hall, the old GLC, Greater London Council building. Used to be a county council building. It's now an aquarium, Shrek's Adventure, and the ticket office for the London Eye, I think. So various buildings in there. This is the Houses of Parliament, a very interesting building, and it's been relatively recently cleaned, especially St Stephen's Tower, which is where the bell of Big Ben, which you can now hear chiming, is going, and that looks absolutely beautiful now. It's been cleaned. That clock is quite magnificent. Especially as we're coming up to the 5th of November, that's when Guy Fawkes tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament, so it's a very interesting time to be here. We are in St James's Park. There's an awful lot of parks in London, and this is one of them. This runs, Birdcage Walk runs down one side, there's the Buckingham Palace in the corner, and then the Mall runs down the other side of the park. And this park, the land was acquired by Henry VIII, and it was actually set out for James I. That's why it's called St James's Park, I think. But this is a very famous park, and it's famous because it has pelicans. So we're currently having dinner in Steak and Company, which is just down the road from the theatre, from the Harold Pinter Theatre, where we're going to go to tonight. We're going to go and see Kristen Scott Thomas and Lily James in a play called Leoness. No idea, apart from the fact that it's a little bit about Cornwall. No idea what it's going to be like. Reviews have been a bit mixed, but we'll have to see. But we found somewhere that we can both have dinner, and we're going to have steak and chips. Cheers. So this is the play we're going to see tonight. It's called Leoness, and in it are Kristen Scott Thomas and Lily James. We both like both of these very good actresses. It's had quite mixed reviews, so we'll have to see what happens. It's about 2 hours 50 minutes, and we don't have seats because we're at the very, very top in the gods, so we'll see what it's like. So just a roundup on what we did yesterday. So we had a very busy day yesterday. Probably walked about 9.5, 10 miles around London, which was fantastic. And then went to the theatre in the evening. I said we went to see Leoness. We actually went to see, it's called Lioness. All about Cornwall, which was great. Well, not really all about Cornwall, but it was very interesting. Kristen Scott Thomas and Lily James were really, really good as well. And very easy to get back here. It was about 45 minutes from leaving the theatre to getting back here, including the walk back. So you can't really argue with that. Very, very impressed with the tube line, or the Elizabeth line out here as well. It was very, very efficient. The campsite itself was amazing, very clean. We found toilets and showers that were slightly bigger down the bottom there, or down in the middle, and that was much better this morning for a shower. Yeah, it was really, really good, and we love this place, and we would definitely be coming back if we want to go into London again. So you can probably hear the rain is drubbing or hammering on the roof. It started raining about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon. It hasn't really stopped, and it's forecast to do this for the next 2 days. So we'll have to just see. Today we're moving on to Cambridge, so we'll have to see what the weather's going to be like there. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and send us a comment.